Hey guys, Cami Baker here. Yes, I'm going to hold my phone while I do this, but I'll be very careful. I want to give a shout out to a new Facebook friend, relatively new, for a couple of months. I've been having some interaction with a gentleman who I knew was a coach. I knew that he'd done some Tony Robbins stuff. I knew that he did a little bit of NLP. I knew that he lived in my general New England area. But what I didn't know was how intuitive and how much of an empath and a clairvoyant that this man is. And it's interesting because he 6'4", 250 pounds, big man, big business, been around for a long time, and now he has gone through enough things in his life that he had his awakening and was able to step into understanding his power of being an intuitive. And so over the last couple of weeks of me having my personal bit of a breakdown, he's been watching that. He also was watching all the videos in Florida and how much fun I'd been having, and so he'd been getting to know me as a person, as a speaker on Facebook. And when the personal stuff kind of went down the last couple of weeks, he was very, very sensitive to that and offered to get on the phone with me. And so we got on the phone today, Skype, visual. His name is Jeffrey Miller. Jeffrey is watching right now. I told him I was going to do this and give him a shout out because I cannot say enough about spending an hour with this gentleman if you get a chance. Jeffrey does hypnosis. He does NLP. He has studied with Tony Robbins and many others, including Bob Proctor and all these other very credible, very impressive people. But at the end of the day, what really, really made me feel comfortable with him was him sharing his story of where he was, what happened, and how he got in touch with who he is today, and him being able to be vulnerable. Here I am on the phone for about an hour this morning, visual, and once again I cried. I've cried more in the last 2 weeks than I have in 10 years. I don't even think I've cried that much in 10 years, but that's good because the wall is breaking down for me. This masculine energy that I have is subsiding so that I can let the feminine out. And as I cried and he was on the Skype with me, he cried too, not like a baby like I did, but had a couple of tears of just pure intuition, empathy, feeling what I was feeling. Shared with me that a couple of the videos I had made recently were so painful for him that he couldn't even watch them because he could just feel what I was feeling. So, as a coach myself and coaching coaches, and we're also worried about our credentials and, did I graduate from this? Well, I personally am not. I know that the School of Hard Knocks and your actual experience in life truly are what make you a good coach. But there's a lot of people that are worried about getting the next certificate and saying that they studied with Tony Robbins or Bob Proctor or Jack Canfield or whomever. And while there is validity in that, and while that's wonderful that people have those credentials, I just want to share that in this situation, that was great. But what made me really feel comfortable with this person was his ability to be with me, to feel with me, to let me be vulnerable, and to just totally understand. So Jeff has a program that I'm going to be participating in at an extremely nominal cost. He said that people say, God, you're just about giving that away. You should charge more. And you should, Jeff. I would have paid you more. But I am so blessed that I was vulnerable enough in the last couple of weeks on Facebook that this person felt vulnerable enough to reach out to me and say, listen, I just want to talk to you. Can we just relate? And we got on, and we just started talking. And it wasn't about having a consultation. It wasn't about, I can help you with that or any of the lingo or the slang that we hear. It was just two people feeling and sharing, and me asking him, what's next? How can I work with you? How can I work with you? And for me as a coach, I'm great at getting people to the table. I network like nobody's business. I can build rapport. My claim to fame in network marketing was I had a team of 10,000 people, and I personally recruited 131 of them because I could meet someone at 7 in the morning, have them at a business meeting at 6:30 at night at a stranger's house, and have them joining my business. That's how fast I can build rapport. But I am not a closer. I just am not. I'm not a natural born closer. And so I don't want to do that. And I loved how when Jeff and I were on the phone today, there was no closing. There was no, hey, here's my prices, here's my program, here's what I can do for you. There was none of that. There was two human beings sharing some intimate, private, fiduciary, meaning, client privacy kind of a thing, and me asking him if I could work with him. And that, my friends, is how this whole industry of coaching should work. We should be talking to people and them seeing in us something so pure and so authentic that we as a potential client customer ask them, what's next? How can I work with you, Jeff? Cami, what's next? It sounds great. How can I work with you? All of my other friends that are coaches, Lindy, Emerald, Trish Wynott, Nancy, all of us. It shouldn't be about, here's my prices and here's my pitch and here's what I can offer you. It should just be about two people having a great conversation. So is it awesome that he understands NLP and has studied with Tony Robbins? Yeah, that's great. But he could have said all that to me in some weird salesy way and not have identified with me and made me feel vulnerable, and I never would have hired him. But the reason that I did, the reason that I asked him, what's next? How can I work with you? Was because I could tell that he could help by our conversation. So I encourage anyone out there to reach out to Jeffrey Miller. I'm not sure what all he works on, but he does help with relationships, with business breakthroughs, and money issues and all that. And for me right now, I'll tell you, my thing is, my whole life from before I was even born, the contract that I've had is I'm not good enough, and if I prove myself, you'll keep me around. And it plays out in everything and anything that I've done. And it started from when I was in my mother's womb, and she knew she was going to give me up for adoption. And before I was even born, I knew that I wasn't being kept, that I was a burden, that the fastest way to fix the problem was to give me away and give me up. And so I've always, my whole life, thought, if I could just be good enough, if I could just work hard enough, if I could just be sexy enough, if my sex was good enough, if my real estate skills was good enough, if whatever, if I'm good enough, you'll keep me around. And that one problem has led to multiple problems, including the one that I've had in the last couple of weeks. I can't blame that guy anymore. It's not his fault that I was going through life trying to prove myself and that I jump into relationships too fast because I'm proving myself yet again. I gotta let go of that, you know. As a matter of fact, he did me a favor. He helped me to step into fixing it now, because I'm 48 years old and I love who I am, and I am just getting started. I've never looked better. I've never felt better. The more times I go around the sun, the more I know, and the more I know, the more I know I don't know, and the more I need to know. And the more coaching that I do, the more coaching I want to take. And I don't know about you guys, but I got another 40 good years of being on stages, writing books, coaching people, inspiring people, being on Facebook, and whatever the next aspect is that we are doing. And I cannot spend days and weeks and months. I can't spend any more of my years on this planet feeling like I've got to prove myself or you won't keep me around. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that. There seems to be an ongoing theme of people that feel like I'm not good enough. I'm afraid of rejection. These are the things I hear from my clients. They're afraid to pick up the phone because they're going to get rejected. They take things too personally. The whole overall feeling of I'm just not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'll never live up to what my mom and my dad thought I should be. I'll never be as good as so-and-so. All of those things are things that we pick up in our childhood. And unfortunately, as Jeff and I were talking about today, we have all of this pushed on us from the time we're born, and frankly, from before we're born, up to 7 years old. We are forming that which we think we're supposed to be based on what other people think we're supposed to be. And then we spend the rest of our lives trying to be what other people said that we should be, and usually quite miserable at it. And so the sooner we can get a hold of that, the sooner we can actually live being who we are meant to be. So the sooner, and I told him, I said, I've talked this to death. I'm so tired of talking about me and going to therapy and going to Sedona and having my stars read and blah, blah, blah. And, oh, poor me, you know, if I'm good enough, you'll keep me around. But the fact is, I haven't let go of it. And it's playing out in so many of my relationships. So I want to be vulnerable with you, my Facebook peeps, and let you know that we all have our issues. We all have our crosses to bear. We all have our stories. And my story is I'm always trying to prove myself. And it gets me in trouble. It keeps me distant from people. It keeps me trying too hard sometimes. And it's just exhausting. And it keeps me from serving the thousands and the tens of thousands. And as you know, the name of my book, Mingle to Millions. The actual millions of people whose lives I can make better when I finally let go of trying to prove myself. So Jeffrey Miller, thank you so much for your help today. Thank you for offering to work with me at a ridiculously low price that I'm so grateful for, but a value that could be exactly that which I've been needing so desperately. And the way that I felt with you today, I feel like I might actually have found, after walking on fire with Anthony Robbins and Zig Ziglar and Jack Canfield and book after book and mentor after mentor. Emerald Peaceful Green Forest is watching right now. Emerald, I want to give you a shout out. A couple of years ago, I worked with you, and if it wasn't for Emerald, I wouldn't even be the Mingle to Millions maverick that I am right now, I would still be doing real estate, and I was really good at it, but it did not serve my purpose. It did not feed my soul. And now I'm doing what feeds my soul. I just got to learn who my soul is and stop trying to be everything to everyone or proving myself to myself, and just let me be me. And the more I let me be me, the more I can serve more people and actually live the purpose that I came to this planet to live. So I want to thank all the mentors in my life, because several of you are watching right now, and I love every one of you. And I just want to encourage you that if you are a coach, don't be so worried about what's your sales pitch or how to get somebody to sign up or what your price points are. Just be authentic, be real, and there's going to come a point in the conversation, like there was for me today, where I just said, what's next? Please help me. And because of that, I am hoping that over the next 30 days, not hoping doesn't work. I am envisioning, I'm stepping into, I am living that you will all see me grow. You will all see me flower. You will all see me become more vulnerable, because my facade, I'm not the ice queen that I used to be. People love to hug me now. I get people hugging at my events. And I am much more generous and gracious and feminine than I used to be. But the more vulnerable I can get, the more vulnerable others can be with me, and the more magic and juju will happen for the millions of people that I'm here to serve once I stop trying to prove myself to myself. So find people to work with that can support you. I had another call with a woman today. So interesting, the people that I talk to that could be my potential clients, and that which they are wanting to bring into the lives of their clients is usually, fascinatingly enough, that which they are needing themselves. And I was sharing with her today, that, what was it I said? I said, your clients aren't buying it because you're not buying it. Like what they're wanting to share and give and serve, the purpose that they're wanting to live, they're wanting to serve people in that way because that's what they themselves are needing. And when they can step into owning that, step through the fire and get to the other side, then they can teach people how to step through the fire and come with them to the other side. But the thing is, they're not buying that they can help them get through the fire and get to the other side, because they're not buying it either. So guys, find somebody that you feel vulnerable with, that can help lead you through the fire to the other side, so that you can help hundreds and thousands and sometimes millions of people to step through their own fire. Jeffrey, thank you so much for your time today. Emerald, thank you so much for your time 2 years ago. Lisa Montgomery, thank you for working with me as my manager, my bartender, my party pal 25 years ago in Panama City Beach. So many of you mean so much to me. And if all this hadn't happened a couple of weeks ago, I wouldn't be having this vulnerable conversation and telling you how much you mean to me right now. So we have to step through the fire to get to the other side so that we can help others do the same. And I am now seeing more clearly as the moments go on, the blessing that this fire has been for me, because it is just making me that much more of a phoenix when I rise from the ashes on the other side. Thank you guys. Bye.